Okay.
So, JD Vance reacting to is he going to run in 2028? And is there a rivalry between JD and Marco Rubio? And he said to NBC on Monday, he said, I can just feel it. The media is going to start telling some story of me versus Marco and me having a rivalry with Marco. Most of the time, I don't give a blank about this stuff. I don't even think that much about it. My attitude is, if I do end up running in 2028, I'm not entitled to it. But I really think that Marco and I could get a lot done together over the next few years. That's how I think about our friendship and our relationship. And I would be shocked if he thought about it any differently.
I think it's a mistake to try to pit them against each other.
I never even thought that they were against each other.
Well, politicians have political aspirations, and the president named both of them as potential successors. And so if you're the media, you're going to try to drive a wedge. I don't think it's going to work. The president trusts them both. They both have his ear. And they've been working together on so many different things. And I think the one unifier is you got Marco Rubio, who was known as more of a hawk, and you got JD Vance, who was more of an isolationist. You got the president of the United States, who values both of their perspectives and makes the final decision. And both of them get in line with whatever the agenda that the president decides. I think, this is just me personally, there's a world where you see them both on the same ticket.
Yeah, Mark Halpern said that yesterday. He says, I've never seen a ticket take shape so quickly, so early. But the worst thing you could do for President Trump, in my humble opinion, is start running for president while he's president.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even if it's year 3, I would, he might say, Mr. President, I got to go. But the vice president plays such a vital role for this president. He uses everybody. And he also, you watched the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, amongst his Senate colleagues yesterday. He is ready for action, and JD Vance is ready to defend. But if I isolated them in a room and I gave them sodium pentothal, I think they're very different on foreign policy.
They are?
Right now, the thing that gets them together is they're working for President Trump. But I think that if you put them in a room and just said, hey, I want you to construct a course on international relations, they would have different views. But they're on the same team. Doesn't mean they have to dislike each other. It doesn't mean they're going to run against each other.
They're both doing a great job. Marco Rubio is all over the map. As Secretary of State, he's meeting with so many world leaders. JD Vance met with the Pope on Monday and said that he hopes that the Pope can help President Trump with the peace.
He might be hosting the Russia-Ukraine talks.
I know. He's trying to get him involved with those peace talks. There was a May survey by JL Partners, and it found 46% of the registered voters who were asked in this survey, they're ready to back JD Vance as Trump's successor. And then Donald Trump was asked about it on Meet the Press, about the MAGA movement, and he said, you look at Marco, you look at JD Vance, who's fantastic. I could name 10, 15, 20 people right now sitting here. I think we have a tremendous party.
All I would say is, look at the people where the president is given the most responsibility. You got JD Vance and Marco Rubio. I mean, I think Marco has like 5 jobs at this point as Secretary of State, National Archive, National Security Advisor. And then you got JD Vance that's leading on every conflict, trade deals as well. The people that he gives the most on their plate are the people that he trusts the most.
And lastly, I'm going to add to this. If President Trump is successful, the American people want more. If you want to turn the page, like with Al Gore and George Bush, they wanted to turn the page on Bill Clinton and the scandals. They didn't want to turn the page on Reagan. They put Bush 41 there. It depends on how successful President Trump is at the end.
That's right.
Whether J.D. Vance or somebody else emerges from the administration.
Just would like to breathe for just a year before we
start, my goodness,
right?
Yeah, midterms.
Yeah.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.